Thanks everyone for showing up today. What we're here for is the 50 Corridor Bicycle Friendly Forum, and I'm going to explain exactly what that means and kind of work your way through that just to set the stage. So my name is John Quincy. I'm the chair of the 50 Corridor TMA. And right back over there, Rebecca, if you could raise your hand, that's Rebecca Garrison. She's the executive director of the TMA. She helped pull this whole thing together, so thank you very much, Rebecca, for doing this. She's had a whole lot of help from some folks here in the room along the way, but just to go ahead and get things started off, just to put everything in context, Rebecca asked me to pull together a few thoughts. And let's just start off with this, a 50 Corridor bike-friendly forum. The 50 Corridor probably requires a little bit of explanation. The 50 Corridor TMA is a group of, it's actually the Transportation Management Association here along the 50 Corridor, and it consists of employers along the 50 Corridor. They're interested in getting their employees to and from work, but it's also helping get school kids to and from school, helping get just various citizens out to their shopping and back home again. It's overall transportation management, assisting with transportation management along the 50 Corridor. So that's the goal of the 50 Corridor TMA group, and that's the context of the 50 Corridor group. The 50 Corridor actually starts in the Art and Arcade area right around Howell Avenue. It extends through Rancho Cordova, part of Sacramento County, a little bit of City of Sacramento, City of Folsom, up into El Dorado Hills, Cameron Parking, all the way up to Placerville. So the focus of the TMA is to provide alternative means of transportation. One of those alternative means obviously is bicycles, but we also want to encourage the use of bus and transit, light rail, carpools, and walking. And the focus today being on bicycles and biking. And because each one of you here today, because you're here today, you're very interested in bicycles and bicycle-friendly communities. And community is one of the key words we'll be talking about here today from a lot of our speakers. So because you're here today, as I said, you're interested in bicycling, but we have various people here today. We have elected officials, we have business owners from the 50 Corridor, we have bicycle advocate groups, we have planners, we have engineers, and we have citizens who are just interested in getting more informed and more involved in our bicycling community as well. Once again, everyone here knows the benefits of bicycling, but just to start the whole thing off, it reduces pollution, it gets cars off the road, it improves the air quality, it improves the health of the individual doing the biking, it provides opportunities for families to get together and enjoy the outdoors. And nothing else is just plain fun. And when it comes to the economic side of things, you'll see a lot of people these days are shifting over to bicycling just to save money. Just the economic aspects of it are very, very important. It costs a lot of money to own a car, insure a car, do the maintenance, pay for gas, pay for parking. So people are trying to find alternative methods of getting around in their lives. And so the bicycling opportunity is there for them, and people are really gravitating towards it. Studies have shown recently that bicycling is on a dramatic increase over the last several years. So we pulled up some information. The California Household Travel Survey was performed. That's a statewide survey, and the percentage of residents walking, biking, and using alternative methods of transportation has more than doubled in the last decade. Now that's a beautiful thing. There's a whole bunch of various social, economic, and cultural reasons for that to be occurring, but it's a big step in the right direction. Recent studies on the opposite end of the spectrum, the car traffic has actually decreased. The total vehicle miles traveled in California has actually decreased in the last decade, which is a phenomenal thing to behold. And the overall vehicle miles traveled per person has actually decreased by more than 10% in the last decade. So once again, people are shifting from their bikes from their cars over to their bikes in a pretty significant way. So times truly are changing. That's a good opportunity for us. A couple of quotes here from the chairman of the Air Resources Board, Mark Nichols. Californians are increasingly choosing alternatives to driving a car for work and play. That's a shift with real benefits for public health and cuts pollution. California is committed to supporting this shift with better planning to support sustainable communities, healthier, low-carbon choices for travel. Bicycles is totally right there in that wheelhouse. At the state level, Caltrans performed an internal survey of itself that was mandated by the governor and by the legislature. It's called the Smart Transportation Initiative. And as a result of that study that was performed, Caltrans truly pretty well got hammered in that assessment. And being a former Caltrans person, I can say that. But the result of that, there has to be a huge increase at the state level from a focus on cars, being on the highways and on the roads, to the complete streets, context-sensitive designs, transportation alternatives, sustainable communities, and connection to multimodal facilities. The catchphrase of that entire study was not just mobility, it was smart mobility. And not just car mobility, but person mobility. It needs to be an increase of focus on not only accommodating alternative forms of transportation, but truly promoting alternative forms of transportation. That's a mind shift, an entire paradigm shift for Caltrans to embrace. And they're stepping in that direction. The Transportation Agency Secretary Brian Kelly, here's a quote from him: Caltrans will continue improving state transportation system to ensure Californians have as many viable choices for how to travel as possible. And at the director level, Malcolm Doherty, quote from Malcolm: Californians are increasingly determined to get places on their own power, and Caltrans is determined to help them do that. Active transportation projects, bicycling right smack in the middle of that, such as bicycle and pedestrian paths, are an important part of achieving mobility, safety, and sustainability for California's transportation system. At the legislative level, the legislature has stepped up with some funding. It's not a huge amount of funding, but it's a step in the right direction. It's called the Active Transportation Program. So this year there's $129 million. It's actually a 3-year, $360 million program that's set aside for human-powered transportation to increase the number of trips to accommodate bicycles and walking. So there's an increase of demand for bicycling in our communities. The question is, are we ready for it? Are we ready to accommodate it? Not only are we ready to accommodate that demand for bicycling, are we ready to actually promote it? And that's one of the things we're here to talk about today, is being a bicycle-friendly community, a bicycle-friendly corridor, if you will. One of Rebecca's concepts she threw out there: each one of our communities could be a bicycle-friendly community, which is a beautiful thing. Let's work towards that. But wouldn't it be great if we were the first bicycle-friendly corridor in the nation? That would be pretty cool to start with, not just the Arden Arcade, but just go all the way out to Davis and West Sacramento, City of Sacramento, Arden Arcade, Rancho Cordova, Folsom, all the way up into El Dorado Hills, Cameron Park. Wouldn't that be great to go from Davis all the way to Placerville with our entire bicycle-friendly community? So one of the questions we have to ask ourselves, are we a bicycle-friendly community? And it's pretty easy to sit back, and I can imagine some of these discussions going on in various city halls around the area. We're bicycle-friendly, right? Yeah, we are. How bicycle-friendly? We're pretty. I think we're bicycle. So the whole idea, how do you measure that? How do you determine, are you bicycle-friendly or not? And that's where the bicycle-friendly community concept comes from, and it comes from the League of American Bicyclists. And the League of American Bicyclists came up with this concept. It says that our community is recognized by the League as being bicycle-friendly when it welcomes bicyclists by providing safe accommodation for cycling and encouraging people to bike for transportation and recreation. So that's the entire focus of the bicycle-friendly community coming from the League of American Bicyclists. And they actually develop a scorecard that helps us assess, are we truly a bicycle-friendly community? And it's got 5 E's associated with that. I think you'll be hearing these concepts of these 5 E's as we go through from our various speakers in our breakout sessions today. The first E is engineering, which is truly facilities. Do we have bike paths? Do we have the ability to park bikes? Do we have class 1, class 2 bike facilities around the area? Education. Are we reaching out to not just our students in our schools, but we're reaching out to our community in general to educate people on bike safety and bike opportunities? Do we have bike encouragement? That's the third E. And that's, do we have enough bicycle type of activities that are promoted by our communities to encourage people to get out of their houses and onto their bikes and use the facilities? The fourth E is enforcement, working with law enforcement to make sure there's true enforcement and understanding, so we have safe interaction between bicycles and vehicles on the road. And the fifth one is evaluation. Do we have anything in place, whether it's an individual or committee or some kind of group that actually assesses how are we doing as far as bicycle friendly? So those are the 5 E's. You'll hear more about those as we go through the day today. So the bicycle-friendly community actually assesses our accomplishments. It assesses what have we done well so far today, and what are some things we need to work on as we move forward. That's the measuring stick that the League of American Bicyclists has provided for us. So here's a testimonial for the representative of one of the communities that has gone through this entire bicycle-friendly process. It built recognition for what we have done, which helps getting funding in the very long list of what we still have to do. Having the honor of being recognized as bike-friendly actually made it easier for us to give a frank assessment of where we lag and help to build the political support for future phases. So that's the importance of not just going through the process, but it's actually a tool that we can all use to get the political support, to get the community support, to get the funding behind where we need to go from a bicycle-friendly perspective. So this year, the TMA, the 50 Corridor TMA, we're in partnership with the 50 Corridor communities that we just mentioned before, and we want to have this forum not just to preach, not just to talk, but also gather information from people here in the community. So that we have representatives from each one of those communities here today, and we're going to have some breakout sessions that actually have some interaction with leaders in the community, as well as each of you as participants. So at the end of today's discussions, after the presentations have been made, we're actually going to have a group get together. There'll be several different groups. We'll be broken down out into each one of those communities, the Art Arcade, Rancho Cordova, Folsom, El Dorado Hills, and Cameron Park. We want you to stick behind for maybe 20 minutes or half an hour to interact with the folks who are actually putting together these applications to get that bicycle-friendly community designation. We have some pretty good speakers here we're going to jump into, but first we want to recognize some folks. So some of the members of the board of the TMA group itself, if you could stand up real quick, I'd appreciate Mark Thomas, City of Rancho Cordova. Diana Kroon-White, Kaiser Permanente, is Diana here? There we go. Reed Taylor, Sacramento County. Jim Konopka, City of Folsom. Ted Lindsay, Bureau of Automotive Repair. So those are some of the folks from the TMA board. We also want to recognize the yellow TMA, the yellow truck. He's not here yet? Okay. We'll get him later. Okay, as far as the folks who are helping pull together this 50 Corridor bicycle-friendly initiative, some of the folks in the steering committee, once again, if you stand up real quick, I'd appreciate that. Mark Thomas again, Jim Konopka, Jim Kirsten, Jerry Barton, Jim Brown, Tony Powers, Lindell Price, Travis Evans, Kevin Lowen, and Dan Klinker. These are the folks that are helping pull together and put the effort behind getting these bicycle-friendly community things put together. So thank you all very much. So we have a speaker here to kick things off. It's actually a support and a sponsor for this event is Kaiser Permanente. And the representative for Kaiser Permanente is also the head bicyclist for Kaiser Permanente, is my understanding. So
there's lots of us. There's one of many.
So the whole key here is when your doctor says bicycling is good for you, obviously bicycling is good for you. So please welcome Dr. Antony Retodo.
So I'll try to make this brief, but I want to thank you all for coming and being here today. It says a lot, and thank you for letting me speak. So very quickly, I'm an internist and I work at Kaiser Permanente. I'm also the medical services director for the Folsom building. And you know, even though I am a medical director, my greatest job is actually being a doctor, and I love taking care of and speaking with my patients. And you know, anytime I speak with my patients, anytime they want to bring up anything about biking, I've got a lot to say. And so, you know, what I like about biking is that it's one of those things that literally it connects your mind, your body, and your soul. And just an example in regards to the soul thing, you know, when you bike and you grind on the cranks, okay, you know, you have to create rotation to get things going. Well, you know, it isn't just all about up and down. You know, when you think about it, it's also push and pull if you're clipped in. It's also, you know, not just up and down, it's front and back, you know, if you really want to do well. So to do well, you have to be able to produce power in many different directions. Another thing about biking is that you guys all know that, when you're biking, if you want to stay up and not fall, the only way that happens is you have to keep moving forward, right? Unless you're one of those guys that can balance, but then I can't do that. And then the other thing too is every Wednesday, as the medical director, I try to, when the weather's good, lead a bunch of us to climb the Costco Hill here. We call it our hump day. And the deal with that is, let's just be honest, when you climb up the hill and you get to the top, you're closer to the heavens and the stars. And then when you come back down the hill and you let gravity do its thing, you become much more closer to the earth, okay? But, I am a physician, so I have to say, we recommend exercise every day. But if you bike to work every day, my God, that's 5 days out of the week. That's a great thing. And the other thing is it's damn fun. It settles your mind. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes when my work is busy, I tend to leave early because I just want to get back on my bike. It's a great thing. So, I was honored just recently to be put on an article as a role model in the Corridor 50 magazine. And I wrote a little thing there about, why we are role models. We try to be role models at Kaiser Permanente because we honestly really do believe that, in order for us to thrive, we have to help you guys thrive. And we model that in everything that we do. And when I bike and I show that I exercise, that helps me to deliver that message much better. One thing that's important to know as a role model and a leader, it is important to be able to have the strength and the bravery to pull out in front. If you watch the Tour de France, and you see the yellow jersey guy and he's busting out in the front, it's great to see direction and everyone wants to work to that person. But when you think about it, that guy's actually cutting the wind, creating a draft for everyone behind them. And when you look at what a real role model should be doing, it's true that, yes, we have to have the bravery to bust out in front and lead. But the truth is we must also have the wisdom to sometimes back up and fall back into the peloton. Because you got to let someone else lead. So the other job of a role model, besides just busting out and leading, is actually learning to create within ourselves other people that can lead too. Otherwise, the passion and the thing that we do here today becomes nothing. So that's why I love that we're all here today, because I get to see other folks that, I can be part of the peloton. But somewhere here, there's going to be someone that hopefully busts out to the front and becomes that leader. Now, I'm also going to just put a plug in. One of the things I love to do here in Folsom is that, Folsom is a great community because we're everything about bikes. And our leadership says to that. And so, I always do for the last couple of years the mayor's ride. Does anyone do that? Okay. It's a great ride. And the reason why it's a great ride is because it's the city that actually does what it says. The leaders are actually leading this, and they're taking us all the way to the Capitol, and it says a lot. And it's the same sort of example. Yes, the mayor's in front, but he allows us every now and then to take the lead. It's very symbolic. But the other part of it too, what I love the most, is that, we meet at Karen's and I get my big muffin and I get the coffee. But I'm a little uncomfortable in the beginning because I don't know anybody. But it's amazing. With that first grind of the gear and you're off on your way, suddenly all these different peoples with their different agendas and ideas become one. And we all go down the road the same direction. And so that's what I love about it. So join us. It's a lot of fun. If anything, you create these incredible connections that, again, can build this passion that we have. So I want to conclude very quickly and just say, you guys are the leaders, okay? Yes, bust out in front and show to everyone that biking is the thing. But back up a little bit and recruit and train and bring that other person to replace you so then this can keep going on. Okay? All right, that's all I have to say.